No change in the weather conditions here in Oberstdorf. Just 20 minutes or so to go before the start of the men's 15-kilometre freestyle race. The rain is absolutely tipping it down, and that is not going to help the tracks. There are one or two tricky situations. No plans to change that fast downhill, but it could be the deciding factor. What we will do, though, is to have a look at the replay of what happened on the 1st of January. It was, of course, the 15K freestyle pursuit in Lenzerheide. Well, slightly disappointing news for British fans. Andrew Musgrave struggling with the pace out there. He went very, very hard on the first lap. And this course is deceptively hard. We can see the hills, but we can't feel the altitude, the lack of oxygen in the air. And yesterday we saw it time and time again with people taking the first lap too hard and then really struggling later on. I suspect that might be what's happened with Musgrave. Could also be a ski issue. We're not to know until the end of the race. We'll have a chat with Roy Young and find out.
Yes, could be, but you would think most technicians able to get them to a fairly even keel with the best or the rest of the best.
The penultimate climb, has Cologne managed to push the gap to 25. Going through the stadium last time round, just 22 seconds between Cologne and the chaser Ustiakov.
Ustiakov, he's got this ability, even when he's so tired, to dig that little bit deeper, and I think he's trying to find something, and maybe it's not there. Well, it's there by 1 second.
Yeah, he's clawed back another second, but the last hill is steeper and longer. I suspect that might rise to 22-23.
Good to see the track. I think the toughness of this track is whereby we've got longer climbs here than say we have in Davos or many other tracks. It's a little bit like the track in Lillehammer, these long, horribly tough climbs.
Bolshunov's had a long, lonely ski. He's seen no one. He can probably hear this group of skiers behind him, and he can certainly hear the shouts and the cheers as they go past. But all credit to Bolshunov. Remember, he is one of the under-23 athletes. He's only just 21, for goodness sake. And there he is, holding that margin at 39 seconds. He's still got a fairly comfortable cushion between himself and 4th place. Holland back in charge with the chase group. Shavotkin's been on his shoulder for the last 500 metres or so. Harvey, Sundby, Polteran and Niskanen, they're still all together, a strong group of 6. And this, of course, is the chase group now. There's the margin, and Magnificat is travelling faster than anyone else out there once again.
He just loves these pursuit competitions. Of course, his track speed is good here today, and over the years, so many times it has been. I think he's got 9 victories.
Pellegrino in this 3rd chase group, wearing the black bib, not because he won the sprint on day 1, but Ustiakov is in the red bib as the tour leader, so Pellegrino gets the honour of wearing the black bib for a day. Not sure whether he gets the money involved. 1,000 Swiss francs for wearing red, and it looks as though Dario Cologne is going to be receiving that on Wednesday.
I wonder if Dario's been given the information that Magnificat has pulled only 3 seconds. It's from the start of the race back on him, therefore the fastest on the track time today.
As you said, Mike, Ustiakov can look as though he's ready to lie down in a 6-foot box, but still he can cover the ground at a phenomenal speed. Dario Cologne still looks very composed. His core strength is so impressive, and that sort of keeps the whole body under control, even when you're at your limit.
I love the little flick there at the end of each stride, just to get good from the knee to the final extension of the leg. He gets a huge amount of force through there, as do most of the top skiers.
Yeah, that's really the difference between a World Cup skier and a club skier, isn't it? The club skier's leg action is very passive.
It is. You need that final force. I'm thinking Sundby must be going through a world of pain in his mind as well, because of the last 6 years, in any pack racing, he'd be at the front and destroying most of them. At the moment, he's surviving. It's not far up to Bolshunov. They can see him. They've seen him all the race, and there's Ustiakov further up.
And they might even get a glimpse of Dario Colonia, but all that's telling them is they've got a long, long way to climb before they can enjoy a little bit of downhill again. Holand's up the pace, Mike. We need to keep an eye on him. The bookies only thought he was 40-1 to produce the fastest time, but he looked good yesterday. He's kept that form going today. I think he might have produced a faster time if he hadn't come across the traffic in front of him.
Yes, possibly. If he was out there on his own, he's now taking on the hard work again. I think Polterainen will be happy with classic sprint races coming up in 2 days' time after a day's rest.
Back up goes the gap from 21 to 22.8. And Ustiakov is consistently faster on the downhills, as we've seen, so he may get that margin down to something around 20 seconds. Still a handy lead for Dario Colonia, and then of course Colonia will get a bonus 5 seconds over Ustiakov because he'll get 15, Ustiakov will get 10, and it looks as though Bolshunov's going to be able to hang on to third place and gain himself 5 bonus seconds.
You just get a feeling, Patrick, that Sundby is thinking, I want 5 seconds. I don't want Bolshunov to get it, but that's quite a big gap. It's still, what, we've got 12 seconds with 1.7 kilometers.
1.7, most of it downhill. I don't think that is going to happen, but having said that, we saw the Finns close down a gap of, what, 7-8 seconds on the same section this morning. 23, haven't seen too much of Danny Rickardson leading this group, and he's got Marcus Helmer, his teammate, tucked in behind him. Number 24, that's Maurice Magnificat, who still has the fastest time out on the tracks, but he's looking tired at the moment, and so he should do. 1:32.5 behind for Maurice Magnificat, and that puts him just 3 seconds quicker than Dario Colonia. He's still got it all to fight for if he wants to produce the fastest time today. Teresa Stadlober, the fastest on the women's course this morning, over 10K.
Well done, Dario. What a fight there to take most of this race on all by yourself, out the front. Everybody there trying to close you down.
The next stage of the tour on the 3rd of January is a sprint in classic style. Ustiakov certainly superior in that, and then we've got another freestyle mass start over 15K, so they do it all again in Oberstdorf, but maybe the advantage of altitude won't be with him. Oberstdorf at about 800, 850 meters.
Yeah, you feel it, but it's not as noticeable as, say, 1400 as we are here. I was just looking at Sundby. He believes, I think, that he can bridge the gap to Bolshunov. It's down to less than 10 seconds.
But he's now got less than 1,000 meters to run, and he's not going to gain much on the downhill section. This corner providing a few issues yesterday, but they've worked hard on the tracks as Dario Colonia drives down towards the finish, and of course enjoying the fans. What a performance he's put on today. He made his break with over 10 kilometers to go, and he's just kept the pressure on all the way through to the end. No chance for Ustiakov now. It's going to be Dario Colonia in the red bib as the new Tour leader. Is he heading for Tour win number 4? Well, we've still got 4 stages to go to find out, but my goodness, he's made his intentions pretty clear.
He certainly has, and what a race, and especially doing that in Lenzerheide and back home.
It's been a good finish from Ustiakov. He's got it down to less than 20. That was a fabulous descent from Ustiakov. Remember, he was 22.5 seconds behind at the top of the hill, so he's pushed hard, got good skis. Maybe Colonia will rue that come the end of the week. We'll have to wait around to find out. And what about Bolshunov trying to hold on to 3rd place? The charge, believe it or not, is coming from Alexei Polterainen, number 4. Alex Harvey on the left of your screen. He could get into 4th place, but it's going to be Bolshunov who gets 3rd. Harvey takes 4. We've got Polterainen in 5, and then Sundby and Holand down in 7. Holand started 10, but he really did all the work in that chase group, so congratulations to him. He's produced a very quick time today, but it's Dario Colonia who takes the win and the red bib. What a race it was for Dario Colonia, very much in the driving seat in terms of the overall Tour title. I'm not sure he was thinking about that on the 28th of December when it all started. But fabulous day for him, and I think actually, Mike, with the cancellation of the sprint, that played into Colonia's hands?
I think it probably did. He didn't show particularly great form on day one in the sprints. He's much better this year than he was.
3 stages left on the tour. What's your focus on today's stage?
Today's stage will be a tough race because of the rain and the track that is there is only 2 uphill, but very many time for recover the legs.
Yeah, not much rest. So always working.
Yeah, and my goal for today is to reach the Val di Fiemme 15K in classic with the best condition, physical conditions. So today is a is a race for reach the Val di Fiemme.
So try not to lose positions, but also not use too much energy.
Yes, a transfer and transfer.
Perfect. All right. Well, good luck today.
Thank you. Thank you.
So interesting stuff from the Fabiani, and I guess that's a good tactic as we have a look at the programme for the rest of the day. The 15 free, then we're back to biathlon. Of course, they're in Oberhof, the first of the 3 with Oberhof, Ruhpolding and Antolz. Excellent, well-attended World Cup. Should be exciting to see who's on form after the Christmas break. Four Hills at 12:45 if you're watching in the UK. Of course, that's round 3, and Camelstock of Poland in control at the moment. So horrible conditions. It's still raining. Temperature hovering around 2 degrees. The tracks are disappearing by the second with the rain. And as you can see from these shots, it's very, very soft out there. Tricky conditions, but the men's 15-kilometre is going ahead. Well, who would have predicted that Dario Colonia would be leading the Tour at this stage with just 3 stages still to go? And the Tour de Ski legend with 3 titles to his name is poised, ready to make it his 4th win. He's got a lead of 22.6 seconds over Sergei Ustiakov of Russia, still the danger man. Bolshinov, Mike, under 23 in 3rd place, 55 behind. I'm not going to write him off, but I'm certainly not going to put any money on him taking the Tour. What about Alex Harvey, Alexei Poltaranin and Martin Jonsrud-Sundby?
Well, Harvey, we know he's the real hunter. He watches what happens ahead of him. He plays safe, and today he could maybe make an impression. Sundby, we can't write Sundby off. He hasn't had his best form, and it's been a long time since he had his last win. That was 11th of March. He's desperate for another win. It could be his day today.
Now, just to make things easy, remember, and I'm sure you all know, but just for those of you who've just joined the Tour, their position in the Tour is indicated by their bib number today. Not always the case if it's a time trial, but it is the case today. As you see the weather conditions, 1.2 degrees the air temperature. So it's not actually the air temperature that's doing the damage to the snow. It's the rain that has been fairly incessant for the last, what, 4 or 5 hours.
Very much so. De Fabiani said there's only 2 little hills. Yes, that spike makes the first hill at 500 meters look tough. It's not. Then it's very flat, and then our second climb isn't much either prior to the descent into the stadium. Just thinking, Patrick, Lenzerheide at the 15-kilometer, you climbed 510 meters within that 15K. Today they're only climbing 294. It's an easy track,
and therefore the field will stay pretty much bunched together. 70 starters on a 2-kilometer loop. They're going around 7 times to make the total distance 14.7, and we will have sprints on laps 2 and laps 4. Vital seconds if your name is Sergei Ustiakov, because he does not want to start the Alpchemise giving away a margin of 20-25 seconds to Dario Colonia.
He does not, and I'm wondering if Larkov, Vodkin, and of course Bolshinov and Ustiakov, if they're going to work together, they could create something of a roadblock up front. Maybe there'll be some teams, the Norwegians could do it as well. There may be strategies.
But for Dario Colonia, he doesn't have that luxury unless unless he's good friends with a lot of teams. He might have had a chat to the Norwegians and said, can I join your number? There he is, the Tour leader, Dario Colonia from Valmester originally, lives in Davos now, so the altitude of the last 2 rounds certainly suited him. We'll see how he gets on in Oberstdorf. We're at an altitude of just over 800 meters. Ustiakov looks angry, he looks hungry, and when he's in that sort of mood, one, you don't want to get in his way, and two, you can do worse than to put your money on him.
Very much, and Bolshinov as well. I think that the day off, the 2 days off and no sprints yesterday will definitely play into the hands of Ustiakov and Bolshinov. He was really, really exhausted.
Alex Harvey's in the red of Canada, wearing 4. There he is, right on cue, and I'm so surprised we haven't seen him on the podium in recent years in the Tour de Ski. Maybe this year. He's lying 4th at the moment. He's 1:01 off the leaders. So a wet, windy morning here in Oberstdorf, but it's not half as bad as it was yesterday before the sprint. And we're just seconds away from the start of the men's 15K. Dario Colonia in a black suit, a red bib, the Tour leader, trying to hold on to those 22-second advantage that he has over Ustiakov. Away they go, 70 skiers, all trying to fight their way around this 2-kilometre course, and that shot alone, Mike, tells you that the first steep downhill is going to be carnage.
Very much. 5 lanes, Patrick, which will slowly, well, actually, rather quickly, it sort of merge into 2, at most 3 side by side. It will be carnage, without a doubt, and all the incidents we saw in the women's race, of course, this is a 5-kilometre longer race for the men. We're going to see plenty of action, plenty of little mishaps.
Now, the last race was a 15-kilometre freestyle, and Dario Colonia skied away from Sergei Ustiakov, which is something that not many people have done over recent years. Sundby's done it on occasion, but Colonia did it with consummate ease in the, what was he? He went with 10K to go, so he didn't exactly hang around.
He did, and Ustiakov did not expect it. Ustiakov said when Dario upped the pace, upped the tempo, put in a significant turn of pace, he just could not live with it. But he did ride with that 19 to 25 seconds all the way around the rest of the track. Ustiakov in Lenzerheide.
Well, look at that.
Behind Dario.
Already 150 meters between the front and the back of the pack, and as Mike suggested, the 2 Russians might work together. They're going to need more than 2 to provide an effective team. Shavotkin was wearing bib number 8. Larkov wasn't far off the front. We'll see if they make their way through. Number 23 is already making a move. That's Melenchenko.
There could be something of a strategy. Alex Harvey comfortable in the middle. It's never comfortable in a pack like this, Patrick, because you can't ski your own freedom. It's tense, it's aggressive. Out front's, yeah, more comfortable, but then you're being chased.
Well, this reminds me of Lati. Was it the 50K or was it the skiathlon where the Russians controlled the pace initially by getting numbers up front?
I think that's exactly what they're attempting at the moment. Ustiakov's up there, of course, Shavotkin already at the front.
Shavotkin number 8. 22, Andy Musgrave, and he finished 19th in this leg last year. He'll want to do better than that. Certainly Andrew would have expected to finish in the top 20 of the Tour de Ski, really hoping for a top 10 after his success last year. That might be a bit too much to ask for now. And I wonder, Mike, with things not really going the way Andrew was expecting, does he just say, OK, it's now all about preparation for February?
I think he probably will be. I still think he can fight through here. And if he does manage to pick up, of course, 2 on the track, 2 possibilities to pick up 15 seconds if you're first across the line on the sprint bonus sections. And, of course, 15 seconds if you cross the line first. Andrew Musgrave will be thinking it's not impossible he could cross that line first. Remember, he had his 3rd in Toblach before Christmas over the same distance.
3 minutes on the clock, and they've long gone past the 1-kilometre stage. This is the hill where the sprints will take place, not this time round, but next time round. Expect to see someone going for the points. Ustiakov, I'm sure, will go for it. In past tours, Mike, we've had many more bonus seconds, but longer races, which, you know, it then becomes a tactical move. Can I afford to put in 4-5 sprints before the finish?
When you turn up the pace, you really build the lactic when you really attack for these bonus sprints. And we saw in the women's race, the legs get very tired if you're attacking too many times, changing pace too many times. It's good to see Sweden, Kalle Halvorsen, up there in the top 5 at the moment. Well, we saw some falls here in the women's race, first time down. So far, so good in the men's. The pace has to start picking up, Patrick. Already they'll be thinking, well, there's bonus seconds to pick up next time around. Just in what, 1.5 kilometers time? Backscheider, the French team, so good in the freestyle, not quite as good in the classic racing, which will come in 2 days' time in Val di Fiemme.
4:11 through the first 2.1. So we'll remember that. If they're under 8:22, they know will know they have picked up the pace next time they come round. We would expect that to happen with the sprint on that final climb.
In wet snow, Patrick, it's very fast skiing. What's that? Just 2:06, 2 minutes 5 per kilometre.
Well, even less, because it's 2.1, not 2 kilometres. So they're travelling at almost exactly 30 kilometres an hour, and it's not the wet snow, it's the fact they've got salt down, Mike. So it's hardened, it's crusted up the surface, but the uphill sections and the downhill corners are going to be broken up throughout the course of the race. So conditions will get tougher as we go through.
Enough room for 3 columns of athletes. Remember, most skis are minimum 185 up to 2 meters long.
I think that's Kalle Halvorsen who's gone to the front. Alex Harvey certainly up alongside him, and that's a challenge to the Russian domination at the front of the field. 57 going through. You'll recognise the colours as those of Germany.
Muzzy at the passage, 2.1 kilometres, 3 seconds behind, position 20.
Tour leader, Dario Colonia. What will he do? Will he sacrifice some bonus seconds in the early stages? I don't think he can afford to. If he can build his margin to 35-40 come the end of today, then he's in a very, very dominant position indeed. But it's not going to be easy, Mike, because everyone's just slowing down in preparation for the sprint, and then suddenly someone is going to go, and I'm absolutely convinced we're going to see a couple of falls on the first sprint.
Very much you'd expect Ushchikov to be coming through now, lining up to explode up the climb. He is a good sprinter, so is Bilshinov on the right, bib 3.
Looked like Holland making a move. Holland wearing 7, and guess who's come to the front? It's Andrew Musgrave, who's looking for some bonus seconds. He's worked very hard over the last kilometre or so, but he's got himself into a good position, wearing 22 on the right-hand side. Excellent. And he's right alongside Alex Harvey of Canada. Great move from Muzzy. Good positive skiing from him.
Do you know, and that must be his focus today, pick up as many bonus seconds on the track, try and get into that top 3 for the finish.
But what he's got to hope, Mike, having put in such a long effort, he's got to hope that things slow down after the bonus sprint so he can get some recovery.
Patrick, to go from 23rd in this pack to go right up to the front, he's put in a huge amount of effort, and how he got through that traffic, well, only he knows, but it's the right path, it's the right journey.
Alex Harvey right behind Britain's best ever cross-country skier, the tall figure, huge figure of Nicholas Dierhaug there for Norway. He's going to be a difficult man to get past. 100 metres to go before the sprint, and here we go. Muzzy is the first to turn up the tempo. Dario Colonia in the red bib has gone as well. Little stumble, 1-2 from Musri, and that's all to do with the soft snow conditions. He's given away the lead, but he's got himself some bonus seconds. But excellent skiing from Martin Jonsrud Sundby, who pipped Colonia at the line. Sundby, remember, 103 behind at the start of today, so that's 15 seconds for him. What about Ushchikov, Mike? I missed...
Well, he reacted with the pack, but he was kind of left behind. 7th position. It's good points. Damage limitation, it's still okay. So the pace has calmed down, a chance to recover. I think Sundby was wise there. He's the smallest man in terms of stature in the top 20 there. In fact, probably in the pack.
Yeah, he seemed to get a very clean run through. Musgrave in the middle of that sprint lane with Cologne on his right. Sumbi was given the door open for him. And they go through at 4.2, 8.29. So, although they put in a sprint, the pace from the sprint to the finish or the end of the lap has been very slow. So, it's not a negative split. They took, what, 7 seconds longer on lap number 2.
So this lap, no bonus sprints on this lap, but there is on the next time around. Muzzy just deciding those glasses are annoying because of the steam and the damp. I would say those glasses were skied over and probably broken now.
So there are your bonus seconds. And 15 to Sumbi, Cologne picking up 12 all the way down to number 10, and Ustiakov only 4 seconds gained, and with Cologne picking up 12, another 8 seconds given away. So the margin at 30. Now, which of the Russians is that? That's number 8, which is Shavotkin, who's didn't exactly take a fall, but with the pace slowing, everyone bunching up again. And this is what tends to happen when you have sprints on an endurance race, Mike, because everyone wants to recover in time for the sprint. And the next of the sprints comes on lap number 4, and they're on lap 3 now. Cologne, Ustiakov, still the 2 leaders. The margin 32. Welcome back to an overcast Oberstdorf, where, of course, the Nordic World Championships have been held on a number of occasions. 1987, I think, when skating was still fairly fresh. And, Mike, the next one?
2006, no, that was Olympic year, 2005, I think.
2005.
I think Andrew Musgrave playing very sensible. In fact, he's just dropped back from the front, but he was buying a lot of space and a lot of freedom and dictating, there he is, dictating his own skiing at the front.
Yeah, Didrik Tunseth that is leading, and Skor, his teammate, just behind him. Tunseth wearing 42. A lot of the big names dropping further back, trying to pick out the red and the black bibs, which belong at the moment to Cologne and, of course, to Ustiakov. Sumbi up there in 3rd. He's watching every single move made at the front. He knows if he wants to win this, Mike, he has got to gain some seconds over Cologne and Ustiakov. He's got to be on level terms at the end of the next leg, surely.
He has, and then, of course, with another sprint bonus seconds on this lap, the pace should, I'm surprised the pace isn't picking up already, but Sumbi is a hunter. He's ready there to attack. Sweden... Rickardsson up there. We saw Halvorsen up earlier. That's good news for Sweden. And the Swedish press are wanting to see those white suits, the Swedes, closer to the front. Hellner's in there as well. Great to see Andrew Musgrave there setting the pace, setting the times up at the sharp end. Not frightened to take this pace on.
Dierhaug back in 22nd at the moment, which is the position that Andrew Musgrave started the day in the Tour, and he is a margin of 2 minutes 36 off the Tour leader Dario Cologne. So we're not going to see a British victory this year, but if Musgrave can get some more bonus seconds on the 4th lap, then we might see him squeeze up into the top 10. I think that would be a realistic but an ambitious aim none the same. So on the far side, there's number 7. That's Hans-Christer Holund, who I know you've been impressed by so far, Mike.
I have, and I still think, and I think with the sprints from yesterday being cancelled, that for me sets up Holund as a real contender for the final day. He is a good climber. He's a very, very fast skier, but not a good finisher, nor a sprinter.
Musgrave still at the front, and this is the best we've seen from him since pre-Christmas racing, where he got himself a 3rd position in the World Cup behind Magnificat.
I think when you look at the wealth of the teams and the backup and support that all the best athletes have had since the age of 10, and you compare it with Musgrave up in Huntley. Yes, he had a background on snow in Alaska when his father Frank worked over there. But you compare the two, I think he's done amazingly well. And the British team, to put them up there, well.
Yeah, that was De Fabiani, who said his main aim today was to get himself to Val di Fiemme. He's not doing very well on that front. Deerhaug also involved, and he's lost a ski. Can't find it. Well, that's really unlucky for Deerhaug. And meanwhile, the leaders are streaming away. He's decided he's not going to waste time looking for the ski. He's going to go on until he picks up a spare one. Oh, that is desperately unlucky for Nicholas Deerhaug. We promised you some drama after what we saw this morning, and we've already had our fair share in this men's 15K. And as long as they stay bunched like this, we're going to see more and more happening as the pace picks up. Remember, we're waiting for the next of the sprints on lap 4.
Only 100 metres to go.
Yeah.
They're picking up pace. Dario Colonia coming wide, trying to get space. Sumbi's up there as well.
And guess who's leading the way up the climb for the second time? It's Andrew Musgrave of Great Britain. Based in Norway. He's right in the middle of the picture. He needs to stay clean this time. No misplacings. Dario Colonia's got himself in a good position. Where's Sumbi? Sumbi's on the inside, but he's not going quite so hard. Hasn't got the room. And it's Musgrave who picks up 12. Colonia with 15. He is streaming ahead of Ustiakov now. It's looking more and more like number 4 Tour de Ski title for Dario Colonia of Switzerland. And all those who thought they were going to be coming back from South Korea with gold need to think again, because Colonia on this sort of form is going to be very, very tough to beat. Well, this is the tricky downhill section where Weng and Usberg were battling it out at the finish of the women's race. Now, Colonia, will he slow things down?
Oh, look at the carnage. You said carnage today. And a lot of the Russians, we saw Melnichenko have problems earlier. We've seen, of course, Shervodkin have problems. Not a good day in the Russian suits.
Oh, that was a little aggressive. I mean, that would get a red card in a game of rugby. Halverson taking the neck out of one of the Russians.
Ow.
So, 17:13 on the clock.
Another man down on the flat.
With 4 laps. They were 4:18 after... well, they were 8:29, sorry, after 2 laps. So they have picked the pace up on the last 2 laps. And we've had so many victims there. I guess it was always going to happen. But, Mike, we've had some fallers. We've had some equipment damage. I don't think it looks as though we've had any physical damage. And that's really what matters.
Is this where Deerhaug, that's Melnichenko there, dropping twice, and there's Deerhaug. I'm amazed Deerhaug didn't pick up the ski, which actually came off his own foot. Wasted a lot of time.
Well, all sorts of drama. Ustiakov is now battling his way back towards the leading group here in Oberstdorf, having taken a big fall. It was a pile-up and a half. I'm not sure who was at fault, to be quite honest, but racing in such close quarters, Mike, if the man goes down in front of you, you have nowhere to go but up.
There's no time. You've got athletes left and right. You're just going to go down as well. You can't get around often, and that's a real pity in the Tour. There he is. He's detached at the back. Shervodkin's there to help him try and pull the pace back, but Shervodkin, bib number 8, he's struggling. He's fallen 3 times as well.
Yeah, they're on lap number 5, so he's still got a couple of laps, 4.5 kilometres or so to pull back, get himself in contention. And Martin Jonsrud Sumbi is starting to look very good at the front. Dario Colonia in the middle of this group, leading the way up in the red bib. And over on the right-hand side, number 42, another of the Norwegians, Didrik Tonseth, who's intelligently kept himself out of trouble. Andy Musgrave is still there for Great Britain. He's about 4 back on that right-hand column. Marcus Hellner up there as well for Sweden, wearing 9. Just behind him is Thomas Bing, who's the best of the Germans on the Tour this year. But where is Ustiakov? He's not in the top 20. He's not in the top 30. He must be down in around 45th position at the moment. We'll try and get confirmation of that.
He certainly is. He's 53rd. the time is okay. He has the possibility. Time-wise, it's only about 15 seconds behind, but there's a whole lot of traffic there.
How do you get through? What part of the course is there enough space to work your way through, especially with so much mileage in the legs, the fatigue setting in?
Yes, very much. And that we said earlier, only 294 meters of climb today, as opposed to normally 550 over 15 kilometers, and that's allowing a big pack to remain together at the front.
Well, we could be in for a surprise winner today, although Sumbi and Colonia have pretty well kept themselves out of trouble. Just look at Colonia down in around 8th, 9th place. Alex Harvey still fighting up there, and Hellner in 8, Baldorf 9, Bogle 10. We got Iversen of Norway in the top 15, as is Andrew Musgrave of Great Britain. And just keep your eye as the names flick through, because Ustiakov, who lies second in the Tour, the defending champion, in all sorts of trouble here in Oberstdorf. And I wonder how many protests the Russian team are going to put in.
Well, I think there were a lot of discussion, last night, to everyone aware that this will be a pack race, and then that reduces your odds or increases your chances of things going wrong. And that's what we've seen today. And that's why I think Andrew Musgrave, very clever, going up the front, at least buying himself some safety, dictating his own pace at the front.
Thomas Bing there, new leader. And just behind him is Norway's Sindre Skor in 39. And just as I say it, Sumbi nips in. And Sumbi has been shadowing the lead too. He hasn't really led for more than 100 metres at any stage. But he wants to be in a position to match any move that's made. And he also is probably hoping that on the last lap, he's the man who breaks away.
Well, Sumbi, he was only 1 minute 3 behind at the start of the day. He's picked up a lot of the bonus seconds. Of course, Dario did as well. The big loser in this is Ustiakov, who was second, and Bolshinov. We're just trying to figure out where Bolshinov is in the carnage.
Alex Harvey also might, because don't forget, Harvey lying in 4th place at the start of today, and with Ustiakov in a bit of trouble, Bolshinov hasn't really featured.
Dario's lost a ski pole.
Has lost a ski pole.
No, just one. All right, just one.
And he's got one. Is it the same size? Looks all right.
Looks okay.
Looks all right.
Bolshinov, actually, Patrick, he's still up there. He's still in contention. 11th, 1.7 second. Well, there he is, middle pack, and in the top 15.
Now, we don't often see Prolong at the business end of a race, but there he is, number 49 from Valferret in Switzerland. He's had a good race so far. Ustiakov, well, he looks a spent force. He will be one angry man. Is he watching his Tour de Ski title slip away? He started in such positive fashion on the very first race in Lenzerheide. Absolutely trounced everyone in that first sprint.
He did. The 2 days off, he needed that. And I'll tell you what, he really needed that now to fight his way through. And I do wonder if Dario Colonia was informed that Ustiakov was so far back. I thought we might have seen a pace change to try and really attack from 4.5 Ks out.
Now, the issue here today, Mike, and I'm all for a bit of exciting racing, but the main problem is not the fact that it's a 2-kilometre loop. It's the fact that there isn't a long enough, steep enough hill to split the group up.
Well, that's right. The elite of the elite, that's where they make the difference. That's why they are the best, because when it comes to incredibly tough terrain, they can separate themselves from the rest. Today, the less good skiers are able to attach themselves to the best and stay with the pace. And of course, there's the drafting factor as well, at average of 30 kilometers an hour.
And I dare say there are a few people out there like me who actually enjoy watching this sort of racing. So is there an argument to say, look, don't make the Olympic tracks, the World Cup tracks, so tough. Let's have close quarter racing. Let's bring in tactics. Let's bring in the cornering skills, the awareness skills. No.
Well, my thinking is, someone as good as Ustiakov has been disadvantaged. Yes, it wasn't his fault that he fell, so he was handling the terrain. He was brought down by someone else. And I think the coaches would say, well, hang on, we want fair or racing where we're not going to be influenced by others to the negative.
Well, I hope you never get in charge of Formula One, because it's going to be even worse than it is already. Now we got another 4. I think that was the Austrian colours. Can't be quite sure at this stage who it was who's gone down. But for the Norwegians, they'll be glad that their main men are still up there. Sumbi still in contention here. It's been an expensive day for the stick sponsors. They've, what have we seen? 7, 8 already going down in this race. We saw a few broken ones in the women's race as well. And what a race that was. If you missed it, do try and catch the replay later on. Real battle, great duel going on in the women's tour, just as we had in the men's. But it's starting to look pretty comfortable for Dario Cologna. Just looking for the white headband of Andrew Musgrave. He's down in around 15th, 16th position. Bib number 22, incidentally.
Well, it's a day for surprises, isn't it? Today, the German athletes doing well. Of course, it's at home for the German athletes. They're coming through. Is that Baldorf at the front, the Austrian?
I think it must be. And he's gone really well. You can see as the hill steepens, the congestion gets greater and greater. And then the concertina effect as those over the top first pull away on the downhill section, and those at the back have to start to do the work all over again. Positioning is so important in a race like this. You never really want to be out of the front 5 or 6.
And this is the last lap, so important now to get precision. That's Bolshinov down.
Yeah, it's been a bad day for the Russians. Ustyugov taking a tumble. We saw Shavotkin go down earlier on, and now Bolshinov has gone down. 37, that's Tamyarvi of Estonia, who's had a little stumble. No real damage done there, but Bolshinov has lost his position in the front 10, and that could be absolutely key in the battle for third place. Where's Alex Harvey?
Now the pace is going to pick up. Sumbi still looking comfortable on our right-hand side. The Norwegians doing well today. Lots of the Norwegian suits. Are they trying to roadblock to try and get Sumbi up there?
You can just feel them waiting to push the afterburners. Finnhagen Krog, 44. He's the man setting the pace, and so many Norwegians in the top 10.
Tonseth has done about 1.4 kilometers with one ski pole. He's still in 15th place, but he's desperate to get a spare, another ski pole.
47, the unlikely Baldorf up there, Dominic Baldorf, who comes from Salzburg, not Salzburg, and Tonseth looking hungry. 17 likewise, that's Emil Iversen, and the Norwegians, who've had a bad tour so far by their standards, are starting to amass at the front. We've got 4 Norwegians in the top 5. Musgrave, I think, struggling to live with the pace at the moment. He's in the middle of that group somewhere.
Finnhagen Crow now at the front and really pushing the pace up.
Well, this is the charge to the line. There will be no let-up from here to the finish. De Fabiani, who took a fall at about the halfway stage, has got himself up into the top 4. A spare pole for Didrik Tonseth, who's done so well skiing on one ski. Number 18 is De Fabiani, who's gone. And Ustyugov on the right of your picture, struggling for room, but my goodness, he's done well. Remember, he was down in 57th position. First to the top of the climb, it's going to be Skår of Norway who leads. Who else is there? De Fabiani is there. Great skiing from Emil Iversen, who's in 2nd place.
Andrew Musgrave still in 6th place. He really needs to try and get up if he can. Can he get through? I think we're running out of space.
That looked like Sumbi in 4th, but he wants to get into the top 3 because that's where the bonus seconds are as they come down into the finish. And number 39, it's Sindre Bjørnstad Skår, who has got the lead at the moment, but coming through strongly is Emil Iversen in the middle lane, and it's going to be Iversen who takes the win. Skår in 2nd, and we've got De Fabiani of Italy in 3rd. A big tumble on the line. Is that Hellner or Halverson? Oh, in fact, it's one of the other Swedes, number 43, Jens Berman, who's gone down. Wow, what drama. How on earth do you keep ahead of what's going on there? I don't know. Hellner 22. We've got Tonseth, remember, who lost his ski earlier on, 25. Ustyugov 28, and the margin only 11.1 seconds, but no bonus seconds for Ustyugov.
Do you know, isn't it strange? Iversen's first victory came here last year in the sprint races, and he's done it again 1 year later.
Yeah, success breeds success, and he just would have had confidence here on this course.
And still good when you look at Iversen, Scar, De Fabiani, third place. He wanted to do well today, he did, but Cologne fourth. It's still comfortable for Cologne.
Now the cameraman is probably the busiest man of all at the moment. He's got about 15 photo finishes to decide, and in one of them is one Andrews Musgrave, who is hoping that if it goes his way, he will finish in 5th place ahead of Krog and Harvey. But at worst, Andy Musgrave is going to be down in 7th position, so a fantastic race, plus he picked up sprint bonuses on both the sprints, and only Sundby managed to do that as well. But there's your race winner, Iversen, who's got himself a World Cup victory and 50 points. No teamwork in the Norwegian team, Mike. They weren't looking to boost Sundby's position.
No,
every man for himself.
And these lads haven't been going so well. Score, I expected him to have a fantastic tour, but he's been poor, to be honest, up until today. De Fabiani, that's a surprise. He wants it good in Val di Fiemme. He's third today.
Fantastic double poling for Iversen. He's about 7 inches taller than the rest of the Norwegians, and that makes him pretty big. But he's eaten up the ground very effectively in that last 100 metres and pulled a couple of metres clear of Sindre Score. And then De Fabiani of Italy. De Fabiani had his problems, Mike. He went down in one of the crashes, so to find his way back was fantastic. What about Ustiakov? How much damage has been done?
It's a lot of damage. 28th position, 11.1 seconds, but I think the significant thing, he didn't get any of the bonus seconds second time round. He did the first time, I think, maybe with 4 seconds. So a big deficit today.
Dario Cologne?
Cologne, he's fine. He got a lot of the bonus seconds, and he's fourth today, only 3 seconds behind.
And Musgrave, only 4 seconds off the lead, but no bonuses for the Canadian. Sundby missing out on bonuses, so actually there won't be that many changes between the main players. None of the top 3 getting into the top 3 today. Iversen scored De Fabiani. Here's your winner.
I'll say that it's maybe not the season you wanted to have so far, but a win right now, it's a nice timing.
It's been a season that hasn't gone as I hoped, but I had a high expectation for a sprint yesterday, so it was not happy when it was cancelled, but the track today was pretty easy, so I tried to motivate myself, and I'm really happy for a victory today.
And coming down the hill there, you've just got Scar just ahead of you. You got your sprint in the end.
Yeah, and me and Scar are really good friends and had many battles on the finish line, so it's really cool to beat him.
All right, this time it went to you. Congrats on a win.
Thank you very much.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think point made. Today was a day for the sprinters.
Well, if you can survive the distance, and of course the lack of climbing suited the giant Iversen.
Well, there are going to be 1 or 2 team officials who aren't particularly happy about today. There's Ustiakov throwing down his sticks. He is furious, not only throwing... Look, if you're going to break your poles, do it in style. That's...
Well, break another one.
Yeah, he's not the only one who's not happy, but that is racing. Everyone had the same conditions. Ustiakov knew, as well as anyone else, that the place to be is at the front, not in the middle.
Well, I think as a team, the Russian team were the most unlucky today. We did not see more suits, more teams falling than the Russians, breaking ski poles often, and Ustiakov, huge disadvantage. He did fight through to limit the damage to 11 seconds, but it wasn't easy.
But you disagreeing with my statement? Get to the front. Ustiakov is certainly strong enough to get to the front and control the pace. Sundby, he was never out of the top 5 in the first 4 laps, staying out of trouble.
And if Petter Northug was here, he would have been in that top 5, top 7 all the time. He would not have allowed himself to build the risk, to reduce his chances.
Yeah, what an interesting race that would have been with Northug on good form, but he's not even in the Norwegian team. So, Andrew Musgrave's been given 6th position at the moment. The star, I think, is still indicative of the photo finish to be decided, but it looks as though Harvey's just pipped Andrew Musgrave on the line. But another top 10, backing up the 3rd position he got just before Christmas. It's been a fantastic season. What a build-up to the Olympic Games, and if he keeps the progression going, he will certainly be a contender. But Korean tracks will be tougher than these ones here in Oberstdorf.
They will be, and much more undulating, but I think Muzzy will move from 22nd, possibly up into even top 15, maybe even 12th position with what he did today, and I think he did the perfect race to push through early and stay at the front.
Well, what a day of racing. They have another day off tomorrow. They're going to need it after the battles that they've had out on the snow today. And then we head to Val di Fiemme. 2 more stages to go. For the men, it's a 15-kilometre classic. Guess what? It's another mass start. So expect more warfare out on the tracks. And then, of course, the climb up the Alpe d'Huez to finish off the Tour. And at the end of today, it's Dario Cologna who is in a very good position to make it win number 4 on the Tour de Ski. So great to see Iversen get a win, Mike, but none of the main players on the Tour finishing on the podium today. The biggest surprise, I guess, is that Ustiakov has pretty much dropped out of contention.
Yeah, 28th position. And what about the guy who started third, Bolshinov, as well? He's finished in 40th, and he was right up with the pack with 900 meters to go. Another fall put him all the way back to 40th.
And in terms of damage done to Ustiakov, he missed out on lots of bonuses in the 2 sprints. He also lost 11 seconds to the winner today, but Cologna was 3.7 behind, so he's only lost 8 seconds or so to Cologna. Well, Saturday it all starts again, and 2:45 UK time for the 15-kilometre classic style. This is the event where Ustiakov just hung on. And remember, he won this stage last year, so he's a different man, a different beast to the one we saw winning the Tour last year.
And very angry. Look at the shots again. He came across that line so frustrated. And I think, in fairness to him, it wasn't about his mistakes. It was about him skiing over the top of someone who fell in front of him. And there's nothing you can do about those incidents.
There is. Be in front of the person who falls. Well, yeah,
that's what Muzzy did.
It's all about positioning. That's why it's so different.
Ustiakov still second, soon be up to third.
53 seconds, the margin. Ustiakov may feel he's still got a chance, but he's going to have to do something pretty spectacular on the penultimate leg in Val di Fiemme. Andrew Musgrave has gone from 22nd all the way up to 16th, and if he can gain another 30 seconds, he could find himself knocking on the door of the top 10 of the Tour de Ski. Wonderful effort from Andrew Musgrave, and a bold ski today, Mike. With a day off tomorrow, why not give it 100%?
It was a bold effort. He saw exactly what he had to do, and he gained most of what he planned to do.
Didrik Tunse down in 37th, losing a ski didn't help, and sadly we never saw how far he had to go before he got his spare. But he wasn't the only one having issues out on the track. Further down, Patrick Caldwell, his sister, pulling out of the women's Tour de Ski today after the cancellation of the sprint yesterday. Andrew Newell of USA. The American men not doing half as well as the American women, with Diggins and Bjornsson, of course, who've been outstanding this season. Would you have run the race today?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you had to run it. I think I would have run it yesterday, even though it did look a little dodgy. Take the advertising banners down. Well,
incredible that Klæbo of Norway still heads the World Cup standings. The margin cut to only 239 points. He won't be believing his luck. But remember, a big haul of points given at the end of the Tour de Ski. I'm pretty sure he will lose the yellow bib by then. Andy Musgrave in 17th place. Long way behind, but still in the top 20 of the world. Well, that's all from Oberstdorf. Next on Eurosport, we have the 4th round of the Biathlon World Cup. They've headed to Oberhof in what was formerly Eastern Germany, and should be a cracking race there. Well, that's all from Oberstdorf. Hope you enjoyed the drama, and congratulations to Iversen of Norway, who gets his first win of the season.